Hey up everyone, Magpie Gaming here. I hope you're all doing well. So we have literally just had the preliminary patch notes for patch 12.8 drop on the Escape from Tarkov forums, so I'm just giving those a quick read over. Pretty much confirms everything that I said in the video that I did a few days ago about what we were expecting to see in this patch. Obviously Nikita spoke at length in his recent podcast about this, but there are a few other things in there that wasn't mentioned in the podcast, or maybe there was and I just didn't pick them up. So I'm going to go through the patch notes, but not in their entirety. I'm just going to go through the juicy bits like I always do, but of course I'll put a link in the description below so that you can go check out the full notes if you want to have a look through those. So to begin with, we are, as I said in the previous video, getting two new skills. These are going to be related to the hideout. One of them is called crafting and one of them is called hideout management. So I'm guessing the more things that we craft, the higher up that skill goes, obviously, and the better you manage your hideout, you'll get the management hideout skill up as well. Then we're going to be getting the compass, which I've spoke about before. Now this is going to be binded to the U key on your keyboard, but of course you can remap your whole keyboard setup with Escape from Tarkov. So if you're currently using that key or you don't want to use it for the compass, you can change that at will. But this is just going to pull up a little animation where the guy will pull out the compass and it will give you a reading obviously on the compass, but you'll get a reading in the bottom right hand corner of your screen as well. So you can just blurt out the numbers to your teammates, they can pull out their compasses and they can get a rough idea of where you are looking. So personally, I'm not too bothered by the compass, but you know, some people have asked for it, so it is coming. And it's also going to be in an unlootable slot, so nobody will be able to take it off your body. Then we're going to get a new type of bleeding. This is heavy bleeding. It says in the notes, may open with a lower chance than normal bleeding. Heavy bleeding requires special treatment items to stop. Also, some medical kits have the property of stopping heavy bleeding. The character with heavy bleeding leaves traces of blood on the surfaces. So some of the current medical kits that are in the game are going to be able to treat heavy bleeding, but I think it's going to be a 50-50 chance of whether it works or not. You might want to carry some of the more specific medical cases for this one. And leaving the trail on the floor, I think that's going to be really good. Obviously, if you drill somebody and then you go to look for the body and they've vanished, if you've hit them pretty hard and you've put them into a heavy bleeding state, then you're going to be able to follow the blood trail, obviously up to the point where they've managed to heal themselves. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing how it actually works with the blood trails, how well you're going to be able to follow them, etc. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. There's going to be new consumable items. There is the Esmarch tourniquet, the hemostatic syringe and the Kvass beverage. The first two of those I reckon are going to be used to treat heavy bleeding. Then we've got the fast backpack dump. This is the ability to dump your backpack very quickly. You'll be able to double tap on the Z key to do that. Might sound a bit of an odd one, but it gives you full mobility then, especially if you are carrying a lot of heavy items in your backpack. If you're stuck in a corridor, or you can hide that backpack somewhere just while you get into the engagement, obviously your mobility goes up. It's easier to fight without the backpack, so I'm glad that they've put a little hotkey in to do that. We're going to get a new third version of voice for the bear, so to be fair, if you speak Russian, that's going to be great for you guys. If you don't, then we're probably not going to bother with that one as only English speaking people. But yeah, there's going to be a third voice in there for the bear. There's going to be new faces and clothing for scavs. There is voices for the scav bosses Gluhar, Sanitar and Rashala, so it's going to be interesting to see how they sound, and I don't know, are any of them actually English? I don't think they are, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they sound. And there's going to be new character animations in the menu, on the loading screen and in the inventory, etc. So for new equipment, we're getting new clothes for USEC and bear, tops and lowers. We're getting new equipment, armoured vests, chest rigs, backpack, headphones, helmets and berets. The list for those things goes on, and I don't think we're going to get actually any specific information on what's going to get added. We'll just find it out once we load up the game after the patch. So for new weapons, we're going to be getting the M45A1 pistol. We're going to be getting the RFB rifle. There is going to be new mods and various things for those, but also the KS23 shotgun. Now that was one that I didn't know was coming into it. Are shotguns really that viable in the game though? I don't know. I'm up in the air about that. They're not something that I use very often. I'll only use them if you have to for a quest. But yeah, maybe they'll become more viable the more of them they add in. I mean, let's face it, there's already a lot of different variations of shotgun ammo in the game, so it's nice to see actually more shotguns coming into it. Then there are a lot of quality of life changes, and like I say, I'm not going to go through every single one because there are just too many to list, but picking out some of the main ones, they're going to redesign the group gathering screen in the lobby, so as your teammates added to the group, you will be able to see models of those with their nicknames on the screen, much like what you get in Call of Duty if you play that at all. At the flea market, if you go to buy items, and this will be one that plagues a lot of people that use the flea market quite regularly, regularly. Let's for instance say you go to buy 200 rounds of ammunition and there is only 199 rounds available once you go to purchase. It then tells you that there isn't enough left to purchase. You have to refresh the screen and do all of that pissing about basically. But now whatever is left from that vendor you will be able to automatically buy. So even if you go to get 200 rounds and there is only 199 left, you will just purchase the 199. You won't get this stupid message that means it slows down the whole process. So I'm glad that they've added that one. It's just a quick neat little thing that allows you to get things done a lot quicker. For optimizations, they've optimized some of the animations within the game. They've optimized the work of the AI on the server. There is now a new option in the graphics menu called high quality color option. This is enabled by default. Disabling it will give you a small performance gain at the expense of image quality, so that will be down to you guys whether you want to do that or not. And there are some different shader optimizations as well. There's a whole bunch of AI improvements. I'm not really going to go into them too much. They're not that interesting. They're just sharpening up the AI, fixing some of the issues that they have, and generally just making the AI more badass. Then there is a whole slew of things that have been fixed within the game. Again, I'm not going to go into them. Some of them just really aren't that interesting, but some of them may be things that have actually been affecting you in the game. So as I say, check out the link in the description below and go check out the full list of all those. There are a lot of them, but it's just, for me, it's not really worth going into in this video. Then we've got some things that have been changed in the games. Nothing hugely, well, no, there's really nothing that's massively important. A couple of little tweaks and changes here and there. PC towers will now spawn SSD drives and SAS drives, which this should have been doing all along really. Those are two components of computers that should be there, but they will now spawn in the PC towers. So I would expect the price of these things to rapidly go down once this patch is out, because they will be more abundant. They've increased fall damage. They've reworked player spawn points at the reserve base location. Scav players will now spawn in at reserve location at a later time, and that is pretty much it. That's all what I can see that's really important in these patch notes. Now, as I say, these are preliminary patch notes. They are not final, but if history tells me something, it's that the preliminary ones are usually very, very close, if not exactly the same as the actual patch notes once they are released. And quite a lot of the time we don't actually get patch notes released. They just stick with the preliminary ones. If there are any changes and those changes are major, of course I will do a video on that. But that is pretty much it for these. Now, on the surface, 12.8 doesn't really look like a massive patch. Yes, there's some new weapons in there, there's new mods and clothing, there's some fixes, some quality of life changes, but on the whole there's nothing massive coming in. There isn't no map expansion coming. Obviously we know that Woods expansion is in the works, or maybe not expansion but a complete overhaul of that map is well in the works and is due between 12.8 and 12.9. So it's probably was going to be that would have been included in this patch, with it coming between 12.8 and 12.9, but obviously they don't want to delay 12.8 any longer. We're already well over a month away from when we thought the patch would release, so it looks like they're just going to stagger those out a little bit. But obviously we are going to get quite a lot in this. Obviously new armoured vests, chest rigs, backpacks, headphones, helmets, etc. New clothing, new weapons, so there is quite a bit there coming in, and of course a slew of fixes and changes as well to keep the game sharp and up to date. So I've got to say I'm not massively looking forward to this patch. It's like, yeah, a couple of new weapons, a few new things, you know, the fast backpack dump is good, and yeah, things like that. I'm interested to see how this heavy bleeding actually works out. Sounds like it's going to make the game a little bit harder, but of course if you're the one inflicting the damage, it's going to make it a little bit easier. So yeah, now they do say that this patch will not be coming out this week. More polish is needed, so I would expect it from anywhere from the 5th of October onwards, which is next Monday. So yeah, we'll see what happens when this patch comes out. How much of the game will it fix and how much of it will it break? Inevitably every single Escape from Tarkov patch does break something, but hopefully they'll get on top of it pretty fast. And that's pretty much it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Stay safe, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.